This is Anthony Crawford from Witherfall, and you are geeking out to Gear Gods. What's up, everybody? This is Anthony Crawford. I'm coming to you guys from Witherfall. I'm here with Gear Gods, and we are going to play some crazy licks from our new record. The name of the song is called Shadows. So for this song, I am tuned down to whole step, not standard, whole step. So this is A, this is D, G, C, F, B flat. So pretty much, if you're familiar with your modes, it's a minor, Aeolian minor scale. Song is in B. No, actually it's in A. Sorry. So this is a Aeolian minor, pretty much. We kind of syncopated into triplets, I guess. So instead of just like instead of and then the second time so and then it's just a lot of pull-offs too, so that's the thing that's kind of like it's kind of hard to pull off that. You got the minor, which is, and then you go to the 2 or the 9th, so it'll be, and then after this to the 5, you know. It's pretty simple, like when you break it down like that. This song is from the album Prelude to Sorrow, out right now on Century Media.
You've played with many notable artists in many different genres and are now in the prog metal band Witherfall. What are the overall musical differences between all of these styles?
I grew up playing rock and roll. My father was a rock drummer. He still is. I mean, he toured and played, with Mother Finest. Then he turned around and toured. He was James Brown's drummer. He turned around and he was playing on the Arsenio Hall show. A lot of people, and then me being brought up in a household with my father, he exposed me to so much music, so many different genres. But I naturally gravitated towards rock. The first song I ever learned how to play was I don't even know if you guys even know the name of this band, but it's a band out of Texas called the Galactic Cowboys. The first song I ever learned how to play, and I used to play that song. The song got off word on the record. I played it all day long, like sometimes 5 hours, just all day playing the same old song. And I gravitated towards that sound of music. But coming up, I went from rock and roll, then I started playing a lot of jazz. I started studying a lot of like Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller, all those type of bass players. And then I started playing like R&B, and I started playing gospel. I started playing in church. But the thing that I noticed about those different styles of music is they all had a different feel. Same 12 notes, but different feel. If you take a hardcore prog metal bass player and tell him to play a B flat scale, it's probably gonna sound totally different from if I was to get a jazz player to play that same scale. You know what I'm saying? Because it's two different feels, two different tones, two different attitudes. two different backgrounds, but it's the same 12 notes. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate music so much that, I love going from style to style. I love playing pop, rock, fusion, jazz, gospel, prog rock. I love playing all this stuff, man. So it's all about the attitude. That's the difference to me.
If someone wanted to contact you to play one of those myriad of genres, where could they find you?
You can just go to anthonycrawfordband.com and everything, my info, credits, videos. That's what a lot of people contact me from anyway, anthonycrawfordband.com, and everything links up on it on my website. So
what do you think the differences are between playing jazz versus metal?
When I get called to do jazz gigs, I immediately turn off the metal head and go to jazz head. And how I do it is the way that I articulate notes. You know what I'm saying? The way the way I hit the string. It may not be an aggressive sound like this. This is pretty aggressive. But I may have a cleaner sound. I may play more like on the neck. I may try to get like a more rounder sound, a little bit less aggressive. And then the same thing with metal. Like when you play metal, like you want to convey like a metal sound. You don't want to play like a jazz guy in a metal band. I mean, it may work, it may not, but usually when people call me to play metal, they want to hear metal. So like I said, being able to articulate the bass, the way you play, the way the attitude behind it, your tone, the strings, newer strings to me sound better in metal, but newer strings doesn't always sound best to me in a jazz setting. So in a jazz setting, I might have like my strings may be a little older. I may play an older bass just to get that sound.
Would you say metal requires a certain level of stamina, whereas jazz focuses on other areas of playing?
Yeah, you definitely need stamina playing metal. Because playing a lot of high notes, I guess it doesn't take as much, but then like if you're trying to hold down that bottom, and play these riffs with the guitar player and keep it full, and on top of that, keep the groove going with the drummer, yeah, you need some stamina. And you need to practice. Jazz, you just have to you have to be harmonically trained. You really have to know harmonics. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be familiar with chords. You have to be familiar with technique a lot. Just like in metal, but jazz is a different type of technique. You know what I'm saying? So I would say learn, different modes. You don't have to be a theory genius, but learn that stuff as well. Reading music helps a lot. It's been times where I would get called for jazz gigs and they would call me at 5 o'clock in the evening and they need me there on stage at 8 o'clock and I've never heard the music before. And I would literally have to sight read a whole fucking show, 2 hours of music. But people call me because they know that I can do that. But at the same time, when Witherfall goes out, I can hold it down too. I mean, no one wants to see a fucking prog metal bassist reading charts on stage. That's not cool looking. I mean, it's okay with jazz, but not metal. They want you to hump the fucking monitors and shit, and but whatever. Sorry, what was the question again?
When you're playing a jazz tune like Blue Bossa, if someone makes a request, can you basically play it in your sleep at this point?
Yeah. 4. Certain things like that, but if it was rock, it'd be. It might be a little bit more aggressive. Jazz, it'd be.
What kind of music were you playing when you played for the largest audience?
Actually, believe it or not, the largest audience was hip hop. I was touring with Erykah Badu. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she's an amazing singer. And yeah, she was, performing for 80,000 plus people, and how I started playing with her was I was on another tour in Indonesia, and I ran into her in a hotel, and she was like, "Oh yeah, my bass player bailed out on me. Can you do this gig?" I'm like, "Yeah, when is the gig?" She was like, "Oh yeah, it's tonight." So I had to learn like I don't know how many songs, like 30 something songs within like 3 hours. So literally, and I didn't really have time to go over the stuff. It just so happened that I was kind of familiar with her music, and I heard it. And her main thing was like, "Hey, um, it's all about feel." She was like, "You can play the wrong note all day long, but if you got the right feel, it's gonna be the right fucking note." So I was like, "Okay, so you just pretty much telling me that I could just fuck up all I want." I'm like, "Good." And literally, I did her show. She was like so happy. She like gave me solos and everything. It was my first time playing with her. But her whole thing was feel. She was like, "Yo, just have the right feel. If you got the right feel, it's gonna be the right note." And that goes back to what I was saying. It's all about feel. That's what people care about. They care about if it feels the way they want it to feel. You can play wrong notes all day long, and you can play the right notes all day long. But if it's the wrong feel, it's not gonna be the right note. You know, it may be the right note, but it's still gonna be wrong. I learned that early on. And once you got the right feel, people will be happy. So yeah, Erykah Badu probably was the biggest audience.
Is it easier for you to play the jazz tunes that you know really well and improvise over, or the metal songs where you have to learn everything pretty much note for note?
I would say the prog metal stuff is definitely more of a challenge for me. Jazz, it's not as demanding, especially when it's open room for a lot of improvisation and stuff like that. Um, and I learned it early on when I was touring with Virgil Donati. His music is a mixture of hardcore jazz, and hardcore progressive rock mixed in together. So you have to have a lot of jazz knowledge, and on top of that, you have to be able to keep up with all that crazy timing, all those riffs and stuff like that. And Virgil kind of threw me in the water. Like he was just like, "Okay, here, throw it here, swim. I don't care if you don't know how, but you better swim." So I learned that early on working with him that you gotta have like that that stamina, and you have to be able to you know separate the two from the hardcore prog, playing the hard riffs, the playing, and keeping that stuff full. And on top of that, when it's time for you to go out and play harmonically over chords and stuff like that, and improv and stuff like that, you got to be able to do the both. So I would say for me, probably the prog metal.
What are some of the soft skills you need to have in order to be a successful sideman, hired gun, session player, etc.?
First of all, people have to like you. That's number one. If you are a dick to work with, you better be the greatest musician in the world, which is rare because like everybody nowadays, you got prodigies coming out of nowhere on YouTube, 12 years old, killing. So it's personality. Like you have to be easy to work with, because if you are in a band, like if you're on tour or whatever, you're only on stage for 45 minutes. Okay, we're on this 2-month tour. And we're only on stage for 45 minutes. Do your band members, do they like being around you? If you don't have the right attitude, I mean, you're only going to go so far. Probably not far. But if you have the right attitude, I think it's number one. And I think everything else will fall in place. Because if you have the right attitude, you're going to want to show up on time. You're gonna want to learn the music. You're going to want to learn how to, have good work ethics. You know what I'm saying? And once people trust you, and they, they have faith in you, they believe you're going to show up on time, you're going to know your job, you're gonna know the songs, and you're gonna show up at rehearsal and blah blah blah, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna have a problem getting work, but if you have the wrong attitude, that right there is gonna catch up to you.
How do you think the attitudes of jazz and metal fans are different?
I look at music as it's all the same, man. Music is it's a universal language. You can go anywhere in the world and not even speak their language, not even know the culture. But if you pick up the bass and someone over there plays the guitar, you're gonna have great conversations. You know what I'm saying? No matter if you're playing jazz, fusion, pop, blues, whatever, they all appreciate it. Everyone has their taste. The metal people, they have their taste. The jazz people have their taste. Nowadays, it's crossing over. I got a friend, Thundercat. I've been friends with him for a while. He has bridged the gap between jazz and metal. I mean, you go to his shows, he's playing hardcore fusion, and they're fucking got a mosh pit going on at a jazz concert. You know, you got bands like Chun. They're like a cross between a lot as progressive, but still kind of jazzy type of stuff. I mean, you got people stage diving off that music. If you cover up your ears, not even listen to the music, you would think that it was like a, you know, a hardcore rock show, but it's not. I think with the internet and people getting exposed to a whole lot more music, I think it's really bridging that gap, man. So I think no matter what kind of music people are listening to, my experience has been that, you know, if I'm playing at the Big Potato, if I'm playing in a freaking arena, whatever, at a rock concert or whatever it is, they all appreciate the music, you know, unless you playing in front of some fucking dicks and they're talking, you know, you in a sensitive solo and it's quiet and you got some people over here having a whole totally conversation, you can hear everything they're saying from the stage, then yeah, I don't like those types. But so if you are those type of people, you know, stop it. I was playing with Alan Holdsworth and this freaking dick was in the audience, so it was like one of those moments of the show where it was quiet and Alan was doing his thing and everybody was like tuned in and they're in awe of what's going on, and this jerk was in the back literally singing everything that Alan was doing, and folks was like, what are you doing? He was literally interrupting Alan's solo, like just singing. Maybe he was enjoying it, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that was his way of enjoying it, but come on now, man, if you're gonna enjoy music, like do it in a way where it makes sense.